When most people read the book of Joshua, they picture epic military campaigns and the dramatic, sudden collapse of Jericho's massive stone walls. It leads like a fast-paced chronicle of ancient warfare. But if you read past those battles, you hit a wall of a very different kind. Chapters 15 through 19 replace dramatic sieges with incredibly detailed boundary descriptions, property lists, and catalogs of ancient towns. To treat these chapters as dry administrative filler is a category error. This section isn't a pause in the story, it is the goal of the story. Until land is measured, named, and assigned, it remains merely conquered space, rather than a secure inheritance. Military conquest without a structured inheritance leaves a nation in a state of perpetual militarization. The violence continues unless the war zone is actively converted into a stable, generational home. Joshua's boundary lists solve this problem. This is a liturgy of moral cartography, the process of taking chaotic, contested space and meticulously ordering it into a permanent, peaceful dwelling for a community. To see how this works, we can look at the largest tribal allotment, the territory of the tribe of Judah. Just as Genesis depicts God ordering the chaotic waters into land and sea, Joshua depicts God ordering a redeemed creation, beginning with these tribal borders. In this narrative, geography is never neutral. Every border is a theological statement, starting with Judah's southern boundary at the tip of the Salt Sea, the Dead Sea. This specific location anchors the inheritance in a physical reality. The Salt Sea occupies the lowest point on earth and serves as a permanent reminder of the divine judgment of Sodom and Gomorrah. Judah's covenant life begins right beside a landscape that testifies to God's justice. This theme of reclamation continues inside the borders. We find cities like Kiriath Baal, places originally associated with Canaanite idol worship. The text preserves these names, demonstrating how territory once devoted to other spiritual allegiances is inherited and transformed. This push against the barren landscape is highlighted by the story of Aksa, who specifically requested springs of water for her family's land. Her request introduces living water into the dry terrain, signaling a move from survival toward fruitfulness. Creating sacred space isn't about finding perfect land. It is about reclaiming a geography marked by fear and failure and transforming it into a place of promise. Establishing this land is only half the task. The next issue is distributing this massive territory among thousands of families without triggering tribal rivalries and civil war. The solution is the lot, or goral. This is not a game of chance. The lot functions as a formal instrument of divine arbitration, removing human manipulation and tribal favoritism from the division of property. These strictly enforced boundaries act as an anti-greed mechanism. By decentralizing power and ensuring equity, the borders are designed to prevent the internal chaos and tribal dominance that would eventually fracture the nation in later centuries. We see this principle in action with the tribe of Judah itself. Because their initial land grant was far larger than they needed, they willfully shared their own southern territory with the smaller tribe of Simeon. This interaction reveals a core principle of the inheritance. Within this kingdom, land is not a prize to be hoarded for tribal status, but a gift to be shared so the entire community can be sustained. The fully populated map of Judah reveals a sophisticated layer of intent, establishing a specific trajectory for the biblical story. Joshua 15 is the architectural blueprint for the rest of the Bible, setting the geopolitical stage and securing the towns needed for the nation's future. The borders drawn here protect Hebron. Decades later, Hebron serves as the first capital of King David, while Bethlehem becomes the birthplace of his line, and ultimately the birthplace of the Messiah. This geographic trajectory leads directly to Jerusalem. A city that begins as a conquered Canaanite territory is transformed into the site of the temple, the ultimate meeting place between heaven and earth. This physical, earthly inheritance establishes the framework for the New Testament, where the focus shifts from a single land to the promise of an eternal inheritance in a renewed creation. God's gifts are not independent possessions, but spheres of responsibility. Joshua's map is the first glimpse of a universe entirely reclaimed, meticulously ordered, and inhabited by God.